You can always tell when I'm procrastinating something when I record lots of these videos. Let's look at this remaining nonfiction section. Half of a case we haven't looked at yet. Alright, let's examine what once was held in this dark maw. So we are looking at nonfiction books. We're kind of up there in like a stack. All right now. So I have an adventure dream that I still want to do, and that is kayak from Anchorage, Alaska, along the Aleutian Arm to Unalaska, winter there, and then island hop kayaking all the way to Russia. I think that'd be such a cool 2-year trip with an interesting winter in a place in the meanwhile. And so I've acquired a few books and maps and things about the Aleutian Islands over the years. The Aleutian Islands are this incredible volcanic emerald series of islands. I mean, whoa. If I ever get to do that, that'd be so cool. Make it like a reality show to get it paid for. Because it's fun to document things. But yeah, the place is called the Birthplace of the Winds. And that's not good. Having almost died many times in windstorms on Lake Powell in a canoe. I'm not even kidding. I had so many close calls, I can't even believe it. Sometimes there's no time to get your life vest on, and the waves are tossing you super high, and there's no shore, and so you're having to improvise. The shore is a sheer sandstone cliff. Good job getting out on that. And your mind flashes back to a canoeist who drowned in similar circumstances that a ranger told you about. That you would later read the death report of. Okay, well, that's what we call a good photo there. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with the Aleutian Islands. Pretty cool. That'd be neat. They didn't like canoe the whole length of the island chain. They like canoed certain areas. And I don't know. I'm down for improvising. I just want to have an adventure in that area. I think it'd be cool to have like a support boat with supplies and stuff, so you could kind of have more fun, like a group of kayakers maybe. Having done a couple of like long distance big adventures in my life, I know how fun and gratifying they are. Like the year I hiked across the country was like the most eventful year of my life. It was like 10 years. Every month was like a year. Same with my circumnavigation of Lake Powell in a canoe. Even some of my hitchhiking trips. Oh, I just love books like this. I'm very interested in architecture. There used to be this Instagram feed called Modern ABQ that profiled modernist architecture. It just made me appreciate my surroundings more and see the utility in some of the design and what it expresses about our modern society. Like, it's crazy. Towns used to just be made out of the available materials of that town. Now they can be made out of anything. There's certain facade styles that are used everywhere. This looks like the kind of textbook you could just read. I got this from a free box. Or, yeah, that sounds right. The Forgotten History of America. I don't know. Woodcut always gets me. Puritan era, even better. Hey, this looks beautifully put together. Where'd this book come from? I don't know, but I love it. Looks great. Full color stuff. Wow. I love it when a book just looks nice and you like feel like your status in the world is elevated by owning it. That's really why I have books. They're just status symbols. I actually don't even know how to read. I just think they're pretty. So this was useful to me when I was writing my chapters set in Alaska of my memoir, Shadows of Clouds on the Mountains. You got to remind yourself of things, and visuals can be great for that. And there was, of course, information that I looked up in here. I believe there's an index, which is awesome. All nonfiction should have an index. I think in my book, I'm going to save it for the end of book 2, but it'll be for both volumes. But I won't have one at the end of volume 1. I just like that better structurally. Because despite my book being 2 volumes, it really is a single work. This is like a magazine. This should go with the trash books in the closet. But this is the kind of stuff that was of much use to me when I was writing about that area. I think I have 4 Alaska chapters in my book. I've got Soldotna and oral history, a collection of oral histories from people I knew in Alaska about our time up there. That's my only unfinished chapter. I need to do 7 more interviews. Well, before that, I have Into the Wild or Wherever, I Don't Know, which is about going up to Alaska with a head full of dreams and quickly realizing that it's just another place on some level, and it's very civilized in many ways. Like, we watched a lot of Seinfeld. It wasn't really the Jack London experience. And anyway, so it's kind of about that, about very incremental personal growth. Then I have The World Greening Wildly, which is about that spring after that brutal winter, living outdoors in a tent. That's told in a unique style. Then I have Pentagram, which is about hitchhiking all over Canada, out of Alaska, down to my sister's house in Salt Lake. So I had 4 different chapters and reasons to really research Alaska and so on. And stuff like this was useful. I think my dad gave me this because he later did a lot of business in Alaska before the dementia got to him. I wrote my essay on Boston. This was a very useful book. I picked it up at a thrift store. It's about the Puritans. A lot of my family history is Puritan Boston era stuff. And this book was great. I think I block quoted it in Some Thoughts on Boston. I probably could have an Alaska section, but I gotta say this was the most useful book when I was writing that. This and one other. I don't know where it is. It must be on a shelf we've already looked at or have yet to look at. It's an issue of Alaska Geographic that's like book bound about the Kenai Peninsula. But that and this were my 2 biggest resources. So useful. This is an incredible labor of love from homesteading families about the history of the Kenai Peninsula. And it's fascinating and fair and accountable. Oh, look at that. This is when I had a job weighing fish at the docks on the Kasilof River that flowed into Cook Inlet, and where Captain Cook had sailed back in the day. And anyway, that was with the crew. That guy in the middle is Jason, I think. That young guy is Will. Look at me. That's like the coolest I've ever been in my whole life. On the far left there. I'm still Facebook friends with Jason. Oh, look at that boat in the back. Yeah. One time, I think it was this kid in the picture at the corner there, Will. He dropped a steel door of a boat into the water there, and the owner of the boat was so angry. That was a rough evening. This job, unfortunately, was during like the most unprofitable fishing year ever. Also, seeing the fishing industry up close in 3 different jobs, makes you think, wow, not a perfect industry. I worked for a set netter. I worked at this job on the Kasilof, weighing fish. And I worked on the slime line at a cannery, and that was so nasty and horrifying. An assault to every sense. Music blasting, machinery 1,000,000 decibels. Guts up on the floor, up to like 4 inches deep. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll frame that. Anyway, yeah, this has like whole chapters on Soldotna, Kenai, all the little towns I lived in around there, Kasilof. Or spent time in Nikiski, Girdwood, Moose Pass. What was that one in that canyon? Cooper Landing. Then we have 3 issues of Life magazine. It's like I can't get rid of these. 1937, dang. Technically should go on the antique shelf. There's just no room in there. 1950, American Life and Times. I bought these at one of the antique mall stores at San Mateo and Central in Albuquerque. They used to have a whole wall of these. And if I was researching an era for whatever reason, I'd get some historic magazines to like give myself the feel of the time and so on. Sensibility. If you want to be a good writer, the devil really is in the details. I think you got to have an obsessive personality a little bit. And Americana. Well, this is of historic import. It's a memorial issue for JFK. Yeah, it's cool. I love ephemera. Ephemera gives me a strange chill. What is the frequency, Kenneth? No, I mean, haven't you ever had that experience where you encounter something like really old and it's just like sitting there in a cloud of other timeliness and it's just so alien and strange? A friend of mine, this guy Danny, he's such a just to describe this guy is like he's a problematic figure, but he collects like racist memorabilia. He's Jewish, and he has this old caricature little dancing minstrel doll from the 1860s, and if you're just in the room with that thing, it's like, the 1860s, that feels very, very different. It's like a Harry Potter port key to like another time and place immediately, you know? And I was at the Antique Mall, formerly McLennan's department store in the 40s. It's this cool, big, long block of buildings that's seen better times. But that includes the Highland Theater. And there was this cookie jar that was carved out of wood in like the 1840s, and it was made to look like a beaver, and it was like a one-of-a-kind handmade thing. That was one of those objects too, where I was just like, it's another time. I used to write about this phenomenon I call the collapse of time, where you just kind of fall into another time. You feel it. Sometimes literature can do it. It's pretty good. Okay, this has been a stack of nonfiction. This video is only 11 minutes long, which is a little short for recent videos. Should I look at more? How about a few more? There's a book by Martin Luther King Jr. I really, really enjoyed his autobiography, which was a collage of all his writing and speeches put together by his wife, Coretta Scott King. It was very moving. And I listened to the audiobook, and so whenever they had recordings of him saying it himself, it was great. Herodotus, the first historian. I gotta be interested in him for that. History is a big component of my interests and what I do and how I engage with the world and write about it and think about it. It's all about that big picture. I really liked his quotes in The English Patient. I was like, I gotta read that guy. I hadn't really been aware of him before that movie, but I saw it like back in the 90s. The Wisdom of Confucius. Yeah, he's supposed to be like super wise, right? To fell a single tree, to kill a single animal, not at the proper season, is contrary to filial piety. There are 3,000 offenses against which the 5 punishments are directed, and there is not one of them greater than being unfilial. It's pretty cool. I love a book like this. I love a slim volume. That's just a fact about me. Dover just does the good work, you know. Durable, well-bound, often public domain works that would otherwise not be out there. But I mean, the Declaration of Independence, that's like a canonical American document. Still, you don't always have a copy of it sitting around. You might need it as a resource sometime. And I don't know, probably whatever country you live in, you probably should familiarize yourself with how it all works and what its story is and so on. The ideals behind it, ideally. IDK, whatever. Just live your best life. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Read this book, though. No, I'm telling you. Very interesting. The Wreck of the Whale Ship Essex. This is a good account of that. Oh, this is by Owen Chase, the first mate. Oh, yeah. This is a first-person one. So good. I was really on an Essex kick for a while. What was that about? I think I had siblings that were at the same time, and so I was like, that's super cool. Kind of fun to read stuff at the same time as other people and, you know, have a shared discourse about it. This is just like a cool topic, and it's a beautiful book, and I love it. The Foundations of Early Modern Europe, 1416 to 1559. Like, that's interesting. People like to mock topics like this. It's sounding boring, but like, if you have a big picture mentality, a topic like this is not boring. Look at this very old receipt that was in there. Mimeograph purple. If this book was bought new, it could be from 1970. Crazy. We need to figure out when it sold for $5.90. Then we could date that. Oh yeah. In this compact study of the Renaissance and Reformation, Eugene F. Rice Jr. draws together the main lines of change that account for a period of rapid transition from medieval civilization to early modern. From a chapter on science, technology, and the voyages of exploration, Professor Rice goes on to examine economic expansion within Europe, Renaissance society and the new humanist culture, the rise of the sovereign state, and ultimately the clash between the established church and the Protestant reformers. I'm interested. Don't know where you came from, book. But I'm interested. Good old Norton. Oh, I love Emerson. To read Emerson at the right age is so great. I mean, I had a couple of Emerson phases in my life. I think he really is the originator of the idea that I have for my book I've been working on, a collection of essays that also tells a story. I remember reading his collected essays when I was younger and thinking that'd be so cool to have like everyone in a neighborhood write an essay and tell a story that way. And then for a long time I worked on a novel that had a really multi-form chapter scheme, and I realized I've like transferred that idea to the nonfiction I'm working on now. But it all goes back to this guy. He's just an innovative, cool thinker, and his writings will leave you creatively and intellectually alert. Great writer. Good old Emerson. He's awesome. You can't read this guy and tell me this guy's not genuine. To use today's vernacular, he was a real one. And really like he was like the Ramones were to punk music, codifying the sound in the late 70s. So was Emerson to the essay, codifying the essay for that era. He was the best to do it in American letters at that time. And he let Thoreau use his cabin and encouraged him. He gave Walt Whitman a helpful blurb to boost his career, though he did not approve of some of the subsequent edits of Leaves of Grass, and was kind of embarrassed that his quote was still on there when some of the poems seemed so lascivious to him in later editions. But I think he's a really interesting person, and I think of quotes from him all the time. He's like Nietzsche for me in that way. Just a great thinker. And, it's kind of cool that living in America, we have some American philosophers, speaking, because that's kind of what he is. He is a philosopher across his essays. He puts forth a worldview. And it's like intellectual honesty and wholeheartedness. It's good stuff. Yay for Emerson. Okay, I want to write a script around this book because it's such a beautiful artifact. Oh my gosh. What? It's so perfectly weathered. I love it. It's giving old person's bathroom. I love that blue-green. It's a compact little book. Wilderness in the American Mind. Great topic. Great topic. Poetry. Interestingly, this book is quoted in Christopher Hitchens' Atheist Anthology. Oh, that's an anthology that could go on the shelf if I still have that. Yeah, I just found a bunch more that I should put with the anthology section. That one too. Those are going to be added to this section. Somehow there might be a stack incorporated underneath that top pile. Sigh. Yes, these poems are beautiful. Oh, this book is kind of amazing. I feel like it's a hilarious title. Women, Pro and Con. Oh my gosh. I love this series of books that are bound like this. Peter Poppin Press books. They're fantastic. Got another one on friendship. Art throughout. I wonder what kind of quotes. I can't remember. We can end on this important question. What does it all mean? I love a slim volume. And that's what this is. I read it once. Retained very little. Might read it again. Was it all for naught? If any of you have seen the Tripods show that aired on the BBC, you can now watch on YouTube, based on the John Christopher books. They got canceled after their second season, and the scene that's the last in the series was, "'Twas it all for naught." Never get to see how it ends. The Man Who Saw Through Time by Lauren Isley. Famous for writing about water. Lauren Isley, anthropologist and interpreter of science, evokes the image. Oh, it's about Francis Bacon. Revised edition of Francis Bacon and the Modern Dilemma. First published in 1962. Scribner's. Okay, I'll check it out. Well, I own it for a reason. It survived the purge of 11,000 books down to 3,000. And that will bring us to 20 minutes. That's good. A History of Russia. Look at this beautiful book. What a chunk. This is a beautiful book. Yale University Press, huh? Got caught in a rainstorm there late one night walking across the country. Found refuge in a strip mall. Pretty cool. I really might read this sometime. I'm very interested in Russia. Oh, that sucks. Look at that. This is my villain arc. A Joker moment, if you will. Okay, there'll be a lot more nonfiction to look at. I do want to incorporate those into the anthology shelf. Okay, windowed it down. That's crazy, but I'm okay with it. I don't love those ends sticking out, but it's fine. I don't mind it either. It's okay. Let it go. Yeah, a crowded bookcase is a healthy bookcase. It means nature is healing. Bro, could you be any cuter and more hilarious? Look at you. Hi, how you doing? Hi. Yeah? What's on your mind? Hi. Okay. So, we have looked at some more nonfiction, you know? What pattern and meaning can we find behind just this random collection of topics? That the facets we can look at of the world are endless.